Hi y'all, it's Andrea over at Sewspire.com, and I am here continuing our ongoing holiday sewing series. Today I want to inspire you to sew some heirloom quality napkins. I think that the finishing details, which I'm going to demonstrate for you, take a very simple pattern to the next level and truly do make these heirloom quality. By heirloom, I mean that they could be passed down from generation to generation. And one of the benefits to taking the time to choose excellent material and then incorporate those finishing details is that when these napkins are passed down the line in your family, those memories are also passed along. So I feel like if you put together a set of these and then write a note similar to what I just relayed to you about the memories being passed along, that this really will be one of the most cherished gifts that you will make this year. So I like to make napkins in equal numbers. So you could either make a set of 2, a set of 4, 8, 10, 12, 16 for that matter. Each napkin requires a half a yard of material, okay? So this is not an inexpensive project by any means. And if you select good, high quality material, this is a really nice, generous gift, okay? So what I want to do is walk you through the basic construction process and then highlight those finishing details that will really take this napkin to the next level, okay? So you're going to begin with 2 18-inch squares. And for mine, I have selected a Japanese screen print. It's 100% cotton. It's a very nice weight fabric there that I think will really last for many, many years. You're going to take those 2 pieces of material and position those right sides facing. For this project, the seam allowance is essential, as are your nice straight seams. Now, if you have been watching my channel for any amount of time, you know that I'm not really a perfectionist, but for this project, I really want to encourage you to go slow, be mindful, and strive for perfection, okay? Because it's not complicated, it's just precision, okay? So maybe precision is a better word than perfection for this process. So for the entire project, we're going to be working with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, including the top stitching, all right? So that's your first focus, is to maintain exactly 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So I have pinned those 2 panels right sides facing, and now using the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going to stitch around 3 sides. I'm going to back stitch at the beginning and the end, and I'm going to leave this top edge unstitched. As you approach that first corner, you're going to want to slow down as you near the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then if your machine has the needle down function, you're going to want to move your needle into the material. If not, use your hand wheel. Then you're going to pick up your machine foot there and pivot that material so you can maintain that precise 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. You'll repeat that same process at your next corner. I've made it all the way around, maintaining that 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Then what I'm going to have you do is turn your napkin right side out and press that nice and flat, and then at that open edge, take the material and fold it inward a 1/2 inch, okay? And the easiest way to do that is to pull on those side seams and fold that fabric in, and then give it a really nice press. Okay, so the first row of top stitching is going to also be at the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So you're going to need to come down about a 1/2 inch on that open edge to begin, and start out with a few forward stitches and a few back stitches. Okay, a 1/2 inch down, 3/8 of an inch in from that open edge. And I like to begin the top stitching by engaging that needle down, so that when I reach 3/8 of an inch from this corner, my needle will be in the down position and I can pivot and get that perfectly square corner. If necessary, go ahead and measure and put a little pin there so you know when to stop. I'm at that first corner, my needle is down, I'm going to pivot and set the foot back down and continue. Now I am approaching that final corner. I want to make sure that I stop right at the 3/8 of an inch. And if needed, you could take that last stitch by turning the hand wheel to align everything perfectly. My needle is in the down position and I'm going to pivot. I still have about a 1/2 inch left to sew to align that starting stitch line, and that's how I'm going to finish this first row of top stitching, is come over that beginning stitch a few stitches and then back stitch a few stitches. And I have made it around there. I'm going to go ahead and trim up those threads now before I add the second row of top stitching. So now I have that first row of top stitching. In my mind, if you stopped here, this is still a really ordinary napkin. Yes, it's durable and it's going to last a long time, but it still looks pretty ordinary to me. I want to show you the difference that just one more row of top stitching makes. And I think it really is truly phenomenal how just adding one more row of top stitching, you take this project to the next level. It's kind of like adding the bevel to the countertop. If you've ever designed a kitchen, it really does take the counter to the next level. Same thing with the second row of stitching. So you're going to come back in using the same process, start a 1/2 inch from that first stitch line, 3/8 of an inch in from the first top stitching line, and box in another square of top stitching. And this is where some reading glasses come in extremely handy, because I'm working with a light base and a coordinating light fabric. So I'm just going to lean in a bit and make sure I get the stitching nice and neat. Again, pivoting on those corners with the needle down. And then I'm going to make that final corner by just turning the hand wheel so I can line up that stitching as I pivot. I'll come back over the original stitching and back stitch just a bit. All right, and then the napkin is complete. It's finally finished, and I see absolutely no reason that these wouldn't last for many, many decades. Then the final step is just to give all your napkins a good press and then fold those how you like. I'm sure you can get very creative with the folding. I think these would be absolutely gorgeous tied in a nice little bundle, and then if you included some gorgeous teacups and an assortment of tea with them in a pretty box, you truly have created an heirloom quality gift that is going to bring a lot of joy for many, many years to come. So I hope you are inspired to spread the joy and the love this season with some heirloom quality napkins. I will be back next week with another tutorial in our handmade holiday sewing series. Until then, as always, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. I hope you all have an awesome week. Thanks for watching.